Welcome to Adarsh Vidyalaya Meditation online class. Students, in the previous class, we have learned about the parts of the alimentary canal. We studied about mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus and stomach. Today let's study about the remaining parts of the digestive system such as small intestine, large intestine as well as the accessory digestive glands such as liver, pancreas and their structure and function. The last class we studied about stomach. There we study the stomach, inner walls of the stomach secreting gastric juice. That gastric juice contains two enzymes, that is pepsin and renin. Pepsin involves in protein digestion. It broken down the protein molecules into peptones. But the protein is not completely digested by the stomach. It should be further broken down into simpler molecules and converted as amino acids. Then only our intestinal wall can able to absorb that protein molecules. In the same manner, we studied in the mouth, saliva is there. Saliva is secreted by the salivary glands. Saliva contains the enzyme ptyalin or amylase. The ptyalin involves in starch digestion. The ptyalin also cannot digest the carbohydrate or starch completely. Only partial digestion takes place. So, the complete digestion takes place by the small intestine. So, the small intestine, the digestion process that is completed as well as absorption process is taking place. The small intestine is the largest part of the alimentary canal. It is long coiled tube measuring about 5 to 7 centimeters length. It consists of three parts: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. Let's study one by one. Duodenum. It is the first part of the small intestine. It is C-shaped organ. Nearby this duodenum region, the right side liver and the left side pancreas is there. As I said already, this liver and pancreas is the digestive glands. They are secreting some digestive juices that contains enzymes that is also involved in digestion. Liver is secreting bile juice. So, the bile juice secreted from the liver is reached the duodenum region through the bile duct. Duct means tubes. So, the bile juice from the liver enters into the duodenum through the bile duct. In the same way, the pancreas is secreting pancreatic juice. This pancreatic juice is taken by pancreatic duct to the duodenum region. Next part of the small intestine is jejunum. Part of the small intestine. It is a short region. It secretes intestinal juice. The intestine also secretes intestinal juice. The juice contains 4 enzymes. They are sucrase, maltase, lactase and lipase. These 4 enzymes together called as succus entericus. Next is ileum. It is the last part, third part of the small intestine. It is longest part, highly coiled, as well as it is highly coiled. The inner walls of this ileum part contain many finger-like projections called villi. Approximately 4 million villi is there in each intestine. Each villus contains the structures of fine blood capillaries and lacteal tubes for the process of absorption. As I said already, this small intestine is involved in digestion as well as in absorption. So, here the complete digestion takes place as well as by the villi the nutrients are absorbed. Next, let us study the accessory digestive glands, that is liver and pancreas. Liver. This Liver is the largest digestive gland. It is also the largest organ of the human body. It is reddish in color. It consists of two lobes. One lobe is large lobe, other one is small lobe. This is the right lobe, then this is the left lobe. The right lobe is larger than the left lobe. Under that, a small greenish colored sac-like structure is there. That is called as gallbladder. The liver, the bile secreted by the liver is stored in the gallbladder. And from the gallbladder, it is enters into the duodenum region through the bile duct. This bile juice contains bile salts and bile pigments. There are two bile salts are there, sodium glycolate and sodium tauroglycolate. The same manner, bile juice contains bile pigments that is named as bilirubin and bilirubinin. These bile salts are involved in the digestion of fat. So, liver is the largest digestive gland. It is reddish in color. It consists of two lobes. The right lobe is larger than the left lobe. There is a small sac-like structure, greenish color structure is there. It is named as gallbladder. This gallbladder temporarily stores the bile juice. The bile juice contains bile salts and bile pigments. There are two bile salts are there. There is sodium glycolate and sodium tauroglycolate. Bile pigments are bilirubin and bilirubinin. It is involved in the digestion of fats. It is converting the large fat droplets into small molecules. This process of converting large fat droplets into small molecules is called as emulsification. Next, let's study the functions of liver. Liver performing certain important function. The first function, it controls blood sugar and amino acids level. It is involved in the maintaining of blood sugar as well as amino acid levels of our body. Then it synthesizes fetal red blood cells. Fetus means the unborn offsprings of a mammal. That before birth, that is in the uterus of the mother. So the offspring present in the womb of the mother is named as fetus. So the liver involves the synthesis of red blood cells in the fetus. It also produces fibrinogen and prothrombin. These fibrinogen and prothrombin are plasma proteins. It is present in our blood plasma. It is involved in the blood clotting process, clotting of blood. If any wound or any injuries happen, it makes a network-like structure at that injured portion and causes the clotting of blood. So, this fibrinogen and prothrombin also produced by the liver, that plasma proteins are involved in the clotting of blood. It destroys the red blood cells. We know RBC have the lifespan only 120 days. Afterwards, it will be destroyed by the liver and the spleen. The new RBCs will be produced by the bone marrow. So, the matured RBCs are destroyed by the liver. Then it also helps for storing iron, copper, vitamin A and vitamin D. The liver produces an anticoagulant substance called heparin. What is anticoagulant? The anticoagulant is an agent that is used to prevent the formation of blood clots. In our body, in our blood vessels, if the blood clots happens, it leads to certain complications. For example, it may cause the cardiac arrest, or if the blood clot occurs in the cerebral artery, it leads to stroke. So, it leads to severe complications. To prevent that blood clot, our liver produces an anticoagulant substance called heparin. Then, it also excretes the toxic and metallic poisons. Liver involves in the toxic and the excretion of toxic and metallic poisons from our body. Then it detoxifies substances including drugs and alcohol. So, it also involves in the detoxification of the substances like drugs and alcohol. Next, let's study about pancreas. Pancreas, it is also leaf-shaped gland situated between the stomach and the duodenum. This pancreas, it is act as both exocrine gland and endocrine gland. What is exocrine gland? These exocrine glands are secreting enzymes and involves in the digestion process. Exocrine glands are the glands which are secreting enzymes and they are involved in the process of digestion. Endocrine glands, that endocrine glands also present in our body. These endocrine glands are ductless glands. They are secreting certain chemical substances called hormones that involves in the coordination of our body, different organ systems. So, this pancreas is act as dual gland. Dual gland means it acts as both exocrine as well as endocrine function. That means it secretes that exocrine part, the pancreas secreting a pancreatic juice. This pancreatic juice contains 3 enzymes. So, in the exocrine part, the pancreas secreting pancreatic juice, this pancreatic juice contains 3 enzymes. They are lipase, trypsin and amylase. This lipase is involved in fat digestion. The trypsin is involved in protein digestion. Amylase is involved in starch digestion. So, digestion is a little by little process. It won't be takes place all of a sudden. So, that lipase is involved in the breakdown of fats into fatty acids glycerol. Trypsin is involved in the protein digestion. It converts the peptones into amino acids. Then amylase is also involved in the starch digestion. In the endocrine part of the pancreas, that secretes hormones, 2 hormones. In this pancreas, certain groups of cells are there. At the surface of the pancreas, some interspersed cluster of cells are there. That is called as islets of Langerhans. These islets of Langerhans contains 2 kinds of cells, alpha cells and beta cells. The alpha cells secretes a hormone glucagon and beta cells secrete insulin. So, listen children, the pancreas is a dual gland. It acts as both endocrine and exocrine function. In exocrine part, it is secreting lipase, trypsin and amylase enzyme. In the endocrine part, it secretes 2 hormones. The surface of the pancreas contains a group of cells. That group of cells are called islets of Langerhans. These islets of Langerhans contains 2 kinds of cells, alpha cells and beta cells. Alpha cells secrete glucagon hormone and beta cell secretes insulin hormone. These hormones are involved in the maintaining of blood sugar level. This time, the complete digestion takes place with the help of various enzymes secreted by the intestinal juice and pancreatic juice. The intestinal juice contains the enzyme maltase, lactase, sucrase and lipase. The pancreatic juice contains the enzymes lipase, trypsin and amylase. Also, the liver is secreting bile. The bile contains bile salts. Absorption of food. As I said already, in small intestine, complete digestion takes place as well as absorption of food takes place. Absorption is the process by which the nutrients obtained after digestion are absorbed by the villi. Villi are small finger-like projections present in the inner walls of the small intestine. These villi contains the structures of blood vessels and lymphatic vessels. These nutrients are absorbed by the blood and lymph and supplied to all body cells according to their requirements. Next is assimilation of food. Assimilation of the food means the incorporation of absorbed food materials into the tissue cells as their internal and homogeneous component. The final products of fat digestion is fatty acids and glycerol are again converted into fats, and excess fats are stored in adipose tissues in our body. In the same manner, the excess sugars are converted into complex polysaccharide, there is glycogen in the liver. The amino acids utilized to synthesize different proteins required for the body. Next is large intestine. The unabsorbed and undigested food is passed into the large intestine. So, in this large intestine, there is no digestion takes place because the digestion and absorption almost over. Digestion is completely over in the small intestine, and the absorption also over. The undigested and unabsorbed food enters into the large intestine. This large intestine is 1.5 meters in length. It has 3 parts. They are cecum, colon and rectum. Cecum, colon, rectum. The cecum is a small blind pouch-like structure situated at the junction of small and large intestine. From its blind end, a small finger-like structure is present. That finger-like structure is called as vermiform appendix. It is a vestigial organ. Vestigial organ means functionless organ. There is no particular function for this organ. Then the colon is much broader than the ileum. The colon is divides into 3. There is ascending colon, transverse colon and descending colon. The rectum is the last part which opens into the anus. It is kept close by a ring of muscles called anal sphincters, which opens when passing the feces. Digestion is the last process of nutrition. The undigested or unassimilated portion of ingested food material is eliminated from the body through the anal aperture as fecal matter. This process is known as egestion or defecation. So, the undigested or unassimilated portion is eliminated as feces through anus is called egestion. So, today we studied small intestine. The small intestine is the longest part of the small alimentary canal. It comprises 3 parts: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. In the small intestine, the enzymes secreted. There are 4 enzymes secreted by the small intestine. They are lipase, maltase, sucrase and lactase. These 4 enzymes together called as succus entericus. In the small intestine region, the complete digestion as well as absorption process takes place. Then we studied about the liver and pancreas. Liver is the largest digestive glands. Liver secreting bile. The bile is temporarily stored in gallbladder. The bile contains the bile salts and bile pigments. The bile salts is involved in fat digestion. The breakdown of the large fat droplets into small ones are called as emulsification. Then we studied about the pancreas. Pancreas is a leaf-shaped gland. There is a dual gland that performs both exocrine and endocrine functions. That exocrine part, it secretes pancreatic juice. The endocrine part, it secretes hormones such as glucagon and insulin. It maintains the blood sugar level. Then we studied about the large intestine. The unabsorbed and undigested food is passed into the large intestine. Large intestine consists of 3 parts: cecum, colon and rectum. Then the egestion. Egestion is the process of eliminating undigested or unassimilated portion of ingested food material as fecal matter through anus. Now let's see a quick recap of the digestive enzymes. There are various glands, digestive glands we studied in the alimentary canal. They are secreting various enzymes. Let's see a quick recap. The salivary gland contains an enzyme tyalin. It is also known as salivary amylase. These salivary amylase converting starch into maltose. Starch is a polysaccharide. It converts starch into disaccharide, that is maltose. Then gastric glands, that is stomach. Stomach contains gastric juice. Gastric juice has two enzymes, pepsin and renin. Pepsin converting proteins into peptones. Renin in infants, that is little children. Renin converting milk protein or casinogen into casein. Next, pancreas. The pancreatic juice contains 4 enzymes: pancreatic amylase, trypsin, chymotrypsin, pancreatic lipase. This pancreatic amylase involves in starch digestion, converts starch into maltose. Trypsin converting peptones, proteins and peptones into peptides and amino acids. That is, proteins are larger molecules that is converted into smaller molecules as peptides and amino acids. Then only unless these larger molecules break into smaller molecules, our intestinal wall cannot absorb by these materials. That is why these enzymes are involved in the breakdown of bigger molecules into smaller forms. So, the chymotrypsin, it converting protein into proteases and peptones, polypeptides, tri and dipeptides. Pancreatic lipase, it involves in fat digestion. It converts the emulsified fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Then intestinal juice is secreted by the intestinal glands. 4 enzymes. These 4 enzymes altogether called as succus entericus. Maltase converting maltose into glucose and glucose. Lactase converting lactose, that is milk, lactam denotes milk, lactose into glucose and galactose. Sucrase converting sucrose into glucose and fructose. Lipase converting fats into fatty acids and glycerol. So at last, as a result of digestion, the carbohydrate molecules are broken down into glucose, protein molecules are broken down into amino acids, fats are converted into fatty acids and glycerol. Home fun. Students are asked to study the textbook exercises from letter 1 to from letter 5.